So, New York State teacher certification. So, we've just been hearing from the New York State Department of Education. Certification issues, however, are statewide. So, for certification, you're going to be working with the New York State Education Department, or NYCDOE. And we in the Office of Academic and Student Affairs are here to support you through that process. So we just talked about the difference between the two systems. There's also a Teach NYC, and then there's the Teach system. Right? So the state uses the Teach system, the city uses the Teach, similar kind of thing. So don't get those two confused. All the students coming from offices, I asked them, do you have a Teach account? They say yes, and they're referring to New York City. So how many people here have a NYCDOE Teach account? Okay, so that's actually not an ideal number. You should all have Teach accounts, right? It's a valuable place to see the things that you're going to need to gather together in order to be certified. There's no downside to having a Teach account, there's only upside, right? It also allows us to look up things about you in Teach that we can problem solve. So, we'll get to how to create a Teach account in a second. Then there's the two kinds of certification. Anybody here already have an initial certification? Okay, so you're in this master's program for professional certification, right? So professional is what used to be called permanent, right? And it is the form of certification as long as you do professional development that does not expire. Initial certificates do within 5 years of issuance. If you're to get professional certification, you have to have a master's level of education and 3 years of service as a teacher. And then you can apply for a professional certification or be in a program that leads to professional certification and regulation. The initial certificate is what most of you will be getting whether or not you're in a graduate program or undergraduate program. These programs lead to initial certification. So this falls under academics, right? And then you scroll to certification and licensure, right? You could also have gone to your undergrad or grad program, and all roads lead to the same place. So you pick your program. Let's say you're in undergraduate childhood education. All the pages are going to look like this. You get to it through undergrad programs, graduate programs, certification, and licensure. It'll always take you to a page that looks like this. And it'll have these 4 things. This one has to be, because you got to go through the certification route, it talks about the type of certifications these too, right? But if you, when you're ready to apply for certification, and if you're completing your program this semester, right, go ahead and apply. There's no reason why your certification should wait on you. You put in an application, if you have $50, that's how much the application costs, right? I always use the driver license analogy. You take a written test to get your learner's permit, I imagine that's the certification exams. And you take a driving test to get your approved to have a license, that's this program. But you still go to the DMV and pay a fee to apply for a driver's license. That's applying in the Teach system for your certificate. Right? When you do that now, it'll sit there as a certificate applied for. But once the last requirement for certification comes in, it'll automatically trigger the process of review. Within 2-3 days, your certificate will issue electronically. And certificates are only in electronic form now. There's no paper certificates like this. Applying for certification, you click here, and you will have program-specific information. It walks you through the steps. Verify your profile, and then you do Bachelor of Arts, this program code here. That's the one we put in when we recommend you. If this doesn't match what you applied for, nothing. So just follow these, select your certificate, right? You have to go through one step twice, right? Because if you're in, say, childhood special education, childhood, and then you would do childhood sped as the second time around. But if you're just in the childhood gen ed, you do that step twice, right? So make sure you follow this by the letter. And you sign, confirm, make payment, you're good, you apply, right? So at the top of every one of these instructions, and each one again has their unique program code and instructions based on the kind of certificate you're applying for. But at the very beginning, it's create or log into your teach account, right? And also, if you're having problems, you applied, everything's supposed to be there, you need help, there's the teach tech support here too. Okay? But you click on this, and it'll walk you through how to create a teach account. Right? So if you don't have one, go home tonight, create one, right? Then what you're doing, if you have one or you just created one, I don't know if Teach populates information instantly, but eventually when you see, if you've taken an exam, you've all taken EAS and CST who are student teaching, right? Or some variation of that, depending on what program you're in. Those scores will be there, right? When you do your field work, right, you did the PETS system, you got fingerprinted. Typically when you get fingerprinted by the city, you fill out the paperwork that authorizes the city to share your fingerprint clearances with the state. But sometimes that doesn't go through, you didn't fill that out. So you want to make sure that on your teach account you look at fingerprinting, it's called, you click on that, see, and it'll say, your fingerprints on fingerprint, or it says something like background check on file or something like that. It clearly indicates that they have your fingerprints, right? The city can have it, but the state might not, right? So make sure you create a teach account that your fingerprints are on file. That is one of the #1 things that goes south on people applying for certification, is they think, oh, I got fingerprinted by the city, and then everything is good to go. But that's not always the case. And if they're not on file, it'll be this lengthy little thing about saying no information on file, identigo, phone number, call this. You can download an OSPRA 104 form and send it to the city to reauthorize them. So, how to get certified? Complete your program and graduate. Right? The registrar sends us a list on a regular basis of who has had their degrees conferred. Once they confer your degree, or award your degree rather, we will make automatically the recommendation for certification to your student, which they take at face value. Right? So our recommendation is a critical component of getting certified. When you look at your teach account, your CUNY First account and the Student Center under the Academics tab, you can see the status of your application to graduate. Has everybody here who is finishing this term applied to graduate?
Yes.
Okay? There's no one who hasn't. I'm finishing this term, but I haven't applied to graduate? Okay. So when you're in your last term, and you're going to be finishing your requirements, make sure you apply to graduate that term. Right? We send you emails about this. There's information on the registrar's website. You do it through the other tab, the pull-down tab on CUNY First, your Student Center, and it says apply to graduate. And then you select the term. Well, the term is selected for you because there are windows, right? You can apply for spring graduation now. So if you're finishing in spring, apply for spring graduation, go ahead and do it. And if you apply for fall, it'll say applied on the academics tab, or it'll say in review, which means there's a problem, so reach out, or it'll say pending, which means everything looks hunky-dory, provided you finish your coursework this semester, at least as far as graduating is concerned. Or it might say approved. which means that everything looks good. Now they're just waiting for the conferral period to arrive in order to award your degree, right? So graduate, complete your program. That's the first step. You have to pass all the required exams, right? The last one is going to be the TPA online portfolio assessment, right? So you'll finish that in coordination with student teaching. You'll submit that at the earliest possible opportunity, and that score will probably be the last thing that arrives in your Teach account, and that will trigger certification. There are occasions where conferrals of degrees take time, right? So the awarding of your degree, it's a single conferral date that all degrees, regardless of when it was actually awarded, there's a conferral date for that period of time, right? So like the conferral date for fall is Feb 1, right? Jan 31. The conferral dates are on our website, actually. But regardless of whether your degree was awarded before that date or after that date, that's going to be your conferral date, right? Same thing with certification. There are certificate issue dates, right? It's like September 1 and Feb 1, right? So even if your degree was awarded on Feb 15th, we recommend you for certification. Your certificate is issued from